Man, a lot happened yesterday in games news.
Good Lord. What should we start with? What happened yesterday?
Okay, let me start with the news that really made me sad. Vicarious Visions, the developers of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, the remake. They also did the Crash Insanity trilogy, not Crash 4, like I tweeted. I made a mistake.
Who did Crash 4
Toys for Bob, who also did the Spyro remake and I think Crash Team Racing or Vicarious to Crash Team Racing, one of the two. They were bouncing between remakes, the two studios. But yeah, so Vicarious Visions, really good studio. They literally brought back like Crash and Tony Hawk. I mean, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 was amazing last year.
It was good, yeah.
And everyone thought, okay, cool, then, and it was very successful. So obviously they're going to remake others.
They're going to do something else, yeah.
Not to be, because Vicarious Visions has now been folded into Blizzard. So the studio no longer exists. Activision decided to just take that team and plop them into the Blizzard team. And that really fucking sucks because, yeah, Blizzard's making World of Warcraft and Overwatch 2, but I feel like Blizzard's mark of quality is not what it used to be. No, I don't feel like I get hyped for a Blizzard game like I used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think Vicarious could do a lot more than just being lumped with Blizzard. So yeah, really bleak.
I don't understand the decision to do that though, because like you've said, Vicarious Visions, it's not like it's a studio that's failing.
No, not at all.
We need to merge this with Blizzard, or Blizzard needs support. Vicarious, they're not doing anything big at the moment, and it's this big 200-person team. Let's just integrate them.
Yeah,
it's I looked at some of the sales numbers yesterday, and it was the Crash Insane trilogy. I think I could be wrong, but it went on to sell something like 8 million copies.
Yeah, that Insane trilogy was crazy good. Yeah.
Which is crazy numbers if you think. I mean, some of the biggest games don't even hit that mark, even critically received games, whatever. Not all of them hit the 8 million mark, And then even Tony Hawk's, I think that Tony Hawk sold crazy, yeah. It sold 1 million copies in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which again is nothing to scoff at. That's incredible. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I just don't understand the thought process of it's not a thing of the studio, like I said earlier, the studio's, failing or Blizzard needs support, let's integrate them. It's no, they were actually doing some good shit.
Exactly.
They are making Activision money. I presume they're profitable. Where? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. And yeah, it's weird.
The report says that they've been working with Blizzard for a while, and that's fine. I just don't understand the reason to completely nuke them.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
But Activision does this. I mean, they've got these tentpole franchises, and they've taken studio. I mean, if you look at the credits on a Call of Duty, it's got Raven Software, it's got High Moon Studios, it's got the core developer, which would be Treyarch or whatever. So even Call of Duty Cold War, the campaign was developed by Raven, and the rest was developed by Treyarch.
Yeah.
They have so many studios, but Raven and Treyarch are still separate studios. They haven't been folded into one another. So, Raven could go on to make something else if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
Or if, I guess if Activision let them. But, they're not just, it's not just Raven is now just Treyarch as well. I just don't get it. Activision really confuses me at this time. They are all very money focused, and again, they've got these franchises that people love. Call of Duty sells like crazy every year, but
yeah,
they used to have so many more games going for them, and now with this, I just don't see them pursuing. I don't see them pursuing Crash anymore. I don't see them pursuing Tony Hawk anymore. So we had this period of resurgence, and now it's just back to Call of Duty and Blizzard shit. So.
Although, look, they didn't make Crash 4, right?
Toys for Bob made Crash 4, but I don't see Activision pursuing Crash 4 now if they just nuked one of the the studio that would have likely made another entry as well.
I don't know. It's so weird. And what makes me sad, so I've just seen in this article that Vicarious Visions was founded in 1990.
Yeah.
It's a 30-year-old studio that's just been...
They're the studio responsible for Skylanders, one of the most profitable things Activision ever did. They deserve so much more than this. Very sad. Very sad news. And just out of nowhere as well. find it
It
so
was
weird.
completely left field.
So yeah, that was one
that's
thing.
sad news for the day.
Yeah, and then there was weird news with Microsoft, which got an update this morning of all things. So,
the Xbox Live Gold.
yeah, so Microsoft announced a huge price hike for Xbox Live Gold. They kind of buried the lead. They were like, yeah, you'll pay $1 a month more for the 1 month subscription and $5 a month more for the 3 month, and also we've made the 6 month subscription the same as the year subscription. And it's like, whoa. Like, suddenly 12 months used to be $60 and now 6 months is $60 for gold. And that was like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing? I guess this is part of their push to like be like, hey, look how expensive gold is and look how inexpensive Game Pass is in comparison and how much more you get. Sign up with Game Pass. Just forget gold exists. Like, I feel like they were being far too aggressive with that sort of thing. And they got like tons of backlash to the point where it wasn't even 12 hours and they reversed course on it. So they are no longer hiking any of the prices globally. And they've done something they should have done years ago. They are working on making free-to-play games not require Xbox Live Gold to play online. So previously, you'd have to have a gold subscription to play something like Fortnite online, which isn't the case on PlayStation or PC.
No.
Like, you can play those for free on PlayStation and PC. Same with games like Rocket League. So the fact that Microsoft was still charging for it, I think Jeff Grubb from VentureBeat made a good point. He's like, Fortnite on PlayStation is free. Fortnite on Xbox is $120 a year. It's like, doesn't make sense.
Yeah, which is like...
You've muted yourself on Discord.
Oh, lol. So I copy-pasted something. I always do this, damn it. So I've just seen what they tweeted out. It's today, January 23rd. Yeah, so it must have been this morning.
It was this morning, yeah.
Today, so this is Xbox account. Today was not great. We always try to do our best for you, and today we missed the mark. We hear you, and we're reversing our Xbox Live Gold pricing updates. And they followed that up with exactly what you said. To bring Xbox Live more in line with how we see the player at the center of the experience, we will be removing gold requirements for free-to-play games. We're starting to work on that immediately, and we'll have updates in the coming months.
Yeah, I don't know why it took this long. Sony's been doing this for years now already, and when there was talk of Xbox getting rid of gold entirely, it was like, okay, well, that makes sense. But now it doesn't seem like they're getting rid of gold at all. But they really drag their heels on this free-to-play nonsense. And like, yeah, it's good that they're listening to feedback, but let's not forget they tried this. I think that the big thing was like, it's a pandemic. Everyone's tightening, their belts, and now Microsoft is out here literally doubling the price of a year's subscription of gold. It's ridiculous.
So look, I understand the business decision behind it, because like a lot of people have pointed out, they're trying to push people to just get Xbox
Game Pass,
Game Pass Ultimate, which like it makes sense, right? But it seems a bit weird to just literally like double the price. Like maybe increase it.
They should just drop gold. I just don't understand it. They have like, I mean, I do understand it. It's money. They have the stats and be like, this is how many million players we have on gold that haven't transitioned to Game Pass. We can't just gut that. It's probably a big enough number that they can't just be like, okay, we'll make it free. But, at the same time, if you really want people to just transition to Games Pass, you can't say, okay, well, there's no gold. You have to subscribe to Game Pass. What you can do is like, be like, okay, we're making gold stuff free, but we're making Game Pass a bit more expensive. Something like that. So, I don't know.
That's tricky, but you know what? At the end of the day, it actually works out better for gamers, because now the price stays the same. And if you're a big Fortnite fan, for example, you can just stop paying your monthly fee now.
I still think that the fact that Xbox and PlayStation charge at all to play online is still ridiculous.
It's such a weird thing, because I mean, like, PC gaming, sorry to be that person, you don't pay. I don't pay Steam like a monthly fee to play Counter-Strike online, for example.
And like the argument of like, oh, but it's server stuff and this and that. Have you seen how many people are playing Among Us? Have you seen how many people play Dota every day? They don't charge shit for that.
They don't charge anything. And you know where they make the money. It's microtransactions.
Yeah. So I guess it's a
That's it.
okay, but let's not pretend that multiplayer games on console don't have microtransactions as well. So it's like
No, but the point I'm getting at is like Fortnite, for example. It's like you can pay Xbox Live Gold and you still have the option to buy
God, yeah,
stuff.
Jesus, I think if I was playing Fortnite on Xbox, I'd be so mad up until this point to have to pay $60 a year just to play this free to play game. Like, yeah, I personally think the first between Microsoft and Sony, the first to pull the trigger and be like, we're not charging for online at all is going to be a big mindshare win.
It's going to be a big deal, yeah.
And I really thought Microsoft was going to do it last year when there were the rumors of like, oh, they're going to drop gold and it's just going to be Game Pass. I'm like, that makes sense. And that's how you win a lot of goodwill. And then it just never happened. It never happened. So they like got people excited about that. Or maybe it's not their fault, but there were substantiated rumors that was the plan. And then they swing so hard to the other direction of like, we're going to keep gold and double its price. It's just like, guys, the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Like, come on, man.
Come on.
I love Microsoft. Well, I don't love brands, but I want to see the Xbox be more competitive, in the space with PlayStation, because competition benefits us all, but they keep doing dumb shit. Like,
yeah. Well, look, they've been doing a lot of right moves, but it's just weird how, just for example, like we've got Xbox Game Pass and people are enjoying the Series X and the Series S because like the Series S, for example, is like a great entry point to the next generation of gaming. And then all it takes is one story like this for everyone to be like, fuck Xbox.
Yeah, they really do.
I can't believe they would do that to us.
Nintendo, this is like a weekly thing for Nintendo. Like, I love Nintendo. I love their games, but I'm not going to pretend that a lot of their online services stuff is real backwards. Like, if the online situation with Animal Crossing was on any other platform, it would be destroyed. But Nintendo gets a big pass from its fans, and I feel to an extent Sony does as well. People are just so hypercritical of Microsoft. Which again pushes them to be better. So there's nothing wrong with us being critical of console makers when it ends up in better experiences for us. But so it's good that they listened. They should have never tried it in the first place, but I'm glad that they listened, and I hope they just learned from that.
And that's that.
What
other news do we have?
What else? Oh yeah, so let's talk about Resident Evil, I guess.
Resident Evil.
There was the big, showcase, which I didn't watch the whole showcase because it was at like midnight here. I don't know if you watched any of it.
No, I was busy streaming.
Oh, right,
I just caught up with the trailer and stuff.
But yeah, there was quite a bunch. So there was a new story trailer, which kind of reintroduced the world again. So the game stars Ethan Winters, like we discussed earlier. It seems like his daughter with Mia has been kidnapped by Chris Redfield.
But of course.
And taken to this weird village with vampires and apparently going to be used in some ceremony. Don't know what that's all about. There's a bad woman called Maiden Maria. You hear the vampire lady talking to her on the phone.
Yeah.
Or Mother Maria or something like that. And then you've got Lady... What's her name? Lady Demascue or...
It's a weird name.
Let's see if I can find...
With the D. She's very tall.
Yeah. Okay. So the bad person was Mother Miranda. My mistake.
That's it.
Mother Miranda, who the tall vampire lady was talking to on the phone. But everyone really loves this tall vampire lady. She is quite lovely. She is. And when we say tall, like there is a scene in that trailer where she's literally ducking to get under like a doorway. So she is big.
She's massive. Yeah.
So I don't think it's just a case of like a sense of perspective. Like Ethan's looking at her from like above, so she looks, really big or small, vice versa, whatever. Like she seems much bigger than the other vampire ladies who seem to be her daughters, and definitely much bigger than Ethan Winters. So that's cool.
She's massive, yeah.
The story trailer was cool. The gameplay showcase was pretty cool. I guess coming off of Resident Evil 7, nothing really stood out to me as new. Except for the fact that you can now punch as Ethan when you stagger an enemy, which was not the case in 7, so that's cool.
Yeah. I like that we've got the creepy old mansion vibe. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I think the mansion looks awesome. It really reminds me of Resident Evil 1. And it looks like it's going to be very, like, loads of puzzles
Spooky.
and weird things. And I just like that they're leaning into the weirdness. Like, your enemies are like vampires who can, transform into like a bunch of like insects and fly around. And at one point Ethan's fighting these like what look like decrepit old witches in like a basement. So this definitely doesn't seem like a zombie vibe. It definitely, I mean,
No.
7 had no zombies. It just had weird mold creatures.
That's swamp people.
Yeah. So that's, we got a good look at the new shopkeeper. So shopkeeper's back. There's an inventory system that looks almost identical to Resident Evil 4, where you're basically playing Tetris in your inventory, I feel like, to fit everything in.
Well, have you played Resident Evil 4? No.
I have, yeah.
Yes, have you? Yeah, so it's exactly that. And it's such a dumb thing, but it's something so satisfying about
good.
sorting out your inventory, like stacking
Yeah,
it.
7 did it all automatically for you. But like 4, you're like, okay, how do I get this shotgun into my backpack? Yeah. So that looks pretty cool.
Great.
I think the game looks fantastic. I'm just super keen for it.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it.
Yeah. So, the character I thought was going to be the shopkeeper seems to be a bad guy. It's not a shopkeeper. The guy with the hat and the glasses. He appears at the end
no, that's not the shopkeeper.
Because from the first trailer, I was like, oh, he looks like the new shopkeeper, and it's like
a shopkeeper,
definitely not.
Not wrong.
If you're on PS5, you can download a demo of the game right now called The Maiden. It's like a no combat 30-minute slice of the game that just kind of gives you an idea of the visuals. You can also see the tall vampire lady in there.
Nice.
And Capcom said that multi-platform demos, so a whole new demo probably is coming out later this year before the launch, which is 7th of May. Very soon.
May, it's not far.
Not far at all. And if it's like 7, the demos will actually tie into the story, because 7 got 2 demos.
Yeah, it's like the color gives you some, like, I don't know, backstory or some context or
So that's cool. I'm super stoked. What I'm not as stoked about is the multiplayer thing that they showed off. The thing's bad.
I love how it's like, how many times can Capcom give multiplayer, like create multiplayer games and give them bad names?
Oh,
what is it
Resident
called?
Evil Reverse.
Reverse. It's like,
but it's also just like, they're just like, hey, we took Resident Evil characters and now it's like a third-person team deathmatch shooter. Like,
it's
why?
like a team deathmatch, yeah.
Who, like, no. Have you seen the tweet? I wrote about it yesterday on GameSpot, but there's a tweet going around being like, something feels off about the characters in Reverse, and it seems like fans have been looking at it and picking it apart, and what they think is happening is Capcom has taken the maps, the environments from like Resident Evil Remake 2 and 3, which were designed to feel cramped and almost like claustrophobic in a way. And what they've done to make it fit with a more fast-paced action shooter is just shrink the characters. So if you go watch the trailer, the characters look so disproportionately small to everything around. Like, doorways look so big and tables look so big. But it gives them more space to run around in without having to redesign the maps. So it's
funny.
Ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
So did you watch the gameplay reveal, right? The trailer for this?
Yeah.
I felt it did such a poor job of getting him excited because, if you recall, it shows you it's Leon and Claire. Like they meet up in a hallway and then it goes to gameplay and you see people shooting. There's no crosshair. They're missing every bullet. I'm like, okay.
Also, why is Leon fighting Claire? Like,
what's going on?
Like, you know what the weird thing is? It's like Resident Evil Remake 3 came out with that, like, asymmetrical multiplayer mode that was sort of like Left 4 Dead. And people seem to really enjoy that. Like, why are you just going to a traditional shooter that makes no sense?
That makes no sense. Yeah, why not just, I don't know, keep supporting that game? I don't know, maybe...
You don't need to release a new multiplayer game every single time you release a Resident Evil. It's just... Yeah,
Funny.
that was like the low point of it for me. One thing
Like,
that was missing from the showcase was Resident Evil 4 remake, which a lot of people thought would show up there.
show up in some form.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see that until like after
Well,
Resident Evil
it
8.
seems like, I don't know if you saw the news yesterday, but VGC, Video Games Chronicle, who is sister site for Eurogamer, they put out a report saying that the game is actually being overhauled. So apparently, remake for Resident Evil 4 has been in development since 2018, and it was headed up by a studio called M2, who contributed to Remake 3 most recently. And because of the reception to Remake 3, especially with people saying that it cuts a lot of content that was in the original, it seems M2 were like, okay, when we remake 4, we want to keep it as close to a one-to-one remake as possible. And it turns out that in a late project review last year, Capcom didn't like the direction, and they've handed the project over to Capcom Division 1, who are the developers of Resident Evil Remake 2. And if you know that has some big departures from the original, but all of them were good. Like, they made Mr. X a far bigger part of the game than he was in the original. So they made, they kept the spirit of the game, but they made tweaks to it that they thought was smart. And that's reportedly what they want to do with 4. They want to keep the overall structure, but make, improvements here and there. So because of that change of development, apparently the game's only coming out in 2023 now, as opposed to its 2022 original release date.
That's fine. I mean,
I'm fine with that if it means that, because I think a one-to-one remake of 4 would be boring, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think just playing 4 with better graphics is not. You might as well just, release a mod for it at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
I think something like 2, 2 definitely is a remake from the ground up, but also, it changed the structure. It kept the overall feel, but changed how the game worked from a basic level. So yeah, I'm keen for that to do with 4, because especially with 4 was already over the shoulder, so just making it over the shoulder doesn't really change that much, whereas with 2 and 3, that alone was a big change.
It was a big deal. Yeah.
So you can't just be like, yeah, we made it prettier and it's still over the shoulder.
Resident Evil 4 is going to be a fixed camera game.
Could you imagine? Listen, I'd be down for it. I'd try.
I'll flip it on its head. I don't know. As excited as I am for Resident Evil 4, it's like, I hear you. It's like, what can they actually change? Because that game is so good as it is.
It is. It's a really good game.
I don't know. You could probably, maybe streamline some of the story beats, do some gameplay things, but exactly what you said with the camera, it's like, you can't really change it. I mean, unless... Do they make it a first-person shooter, for example? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with it.
Yeah, I like Capcom's approach where they're like, our mainline Resident Evils are going to be first-person for now, and then our remakes are going to be the more traditional style. Which I think is cool. I just think, Remake 2 and 3 stood out so much because they were complete overhauls of the games.
Yeah, it's complete overhaul.
Yeah, I think you have to do that with 4 as much as you can to make it feel, because there's already people going, why do you want to remake 4? It's it's good as it is now. You can play it today and it won't feel old. So yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. Is there any other gaming news?
That's mostly it. There's a lot of cool games coming to Xbox Game Pass in January, including firstly, The Medium will be on Game Pass.
I can't believe that game's out this week.
The Yakuza Remastered Collection for console and PC also coming to Game Pass. That includes Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 Remastered, which joins already, I think they have Yakuza 0 and Yakuza 1 and 2 Kiwami, which are remakes of 1 and 2. So you've essentially got Yakuza 0 to 5 on Xbox now. You're just missing 6. And like a Dragon, the 7th one is already on Xbox. So yeah, that's pretty dope.
And also the Xbox Live Gold games were revealed as well, and they pretty solid offering for Feb. think it was Gears 5.
Yeah, Gears 5.
Resident Evil Remake, the first one.
Which is good.
So weird because Remake 2, for example, came out like 2 years ago,
Yes.
right? Or 3 years ago, whatever it was. The remake of the first game came out in like 2003, 2004. Super, super good remake. Also completely rebuilt from the ground up. Same setting, but they like changed it up so much. Would recommend if you haven't played it.
100%, yeah. I'm just reading now that Cyber Shadow, the Yacht Games published SNES thing, it's also coming to Game Pass on January 26th on PC, console, and streaming on Android. So yeah, that's cool. Already on Game Pass, it's been added already as of this recording. Control has been added to Game Pass on PC. It's very cool.
Would recommend.
And then Desperados 3 and Donut County. Donut County seems like a cool time, so I'm keen to give that a go. Outer Wilds is also launched on Game Pass for Android.
I need to play that.
Yeah, it's on Xbox and PC already. I would, if you play it on PC, just play with the controller. Don't even attempt that game with the mouse and keyboard. It's just
the mouse.
No,
Okay.
no. But it's
Cool.
what a game! Holy shit, what a game!
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's news. I'm gonna call it on news there.